And it is 4:15 p.m. on Wednesday, November 6, 2024, and I call this City of Merrill Park and Recreation Commission meeting to order. First item on the agenda, approve the minutes from the previous meeting.
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion to approve the minutes from the previous meeting. Is there a second on that motion?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the previous meeting. Any discussion on that motion or question about the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 2, approve the claims. Let's see, we have 1 page of claims. Is that correct, Dan?
That's correct, yes.
Everything fit on 1 page. Just want any questions for Dan about the claims? I would then entertain a motion to approve the claims as submitted.
I'll make a motion to approve the claims.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
No, second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the claims. Is there any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The claims are approved. Next agenda item, update on the 2025 budget.
Okay. I think the process is fairly complete with the exception of the finality of it at the November 12th City Council meeting at the final budget hearing. Throughout the course of the 3 meetings, outside of the adjustments that were made to the first one, was it end of September, where we had the capital discussion, and I think we went through all of our stuff that got cut or partially funded. Our operational one was as presented. We had no adjustments to what we discussed here, so operationally speaking, we are good, and the same is for our capital requests. Everything that was cut or trimmed down remained where it was at. I know I thank Rebecca. I tried to have her as our alderperson reintroduce the Streeter Square basketball courts back in at a lesser value so that we could just do something, and that was met with a fair amount of fair amount of no-go, I guess, opposition. So we were able to keep the $5,000 that was in there. I know that they had initially put it in there for removing it, but we part of that discussion was to just keep $5,000 in there if we wanted to go towards fundraising for new basketball court. So the rest, I think pool heater, our number 1 thing, was fully funded. Keypad locks on park shelters was completely removed, and the rest of them were only partially funded. I don't know if anybody wants me to go through those again or not, but so it could have been much better. It could have been worse. Our original ask, we asked for $195,000 worth of capital projects and improvements, and we were approved. If you add up what we were approved, at least for this year, it was $79,000 worth. So we took a shave on it, but that's how it goes sometimes. The one thing that I do have the camera rolling here, so we might as well use this opportunity to springboard towards next year. And we've had this discussion here, but some of the partially funded things are items that will automatically roll onto our 2026 budget when we begin that process, along with the other things that we've been talking about on our 5-year. So we may have to get a little bit creative moving forward. We've again had these discussions. It begins to accumulate when we have items that are partially funded or not funded. We've talked about it. Because it's not funded doesn't mean that it fixes itself or improves itself or goes away. As the City of Parks, we want to continue to make sure that what we put forth is a good product, good facilities, and other things like that. while I have a microphone too, I would also, I would like to see, and this is just a discussion here, but it would really be nice from a capital standpoint to have a goal from city council, a target number that we can shoot for. Not having that, this is money that the city borrows for the capital projects. So when we come with individual projects like this, especially for our department, because we have that's what we have is property and facilities, and the projects themselves, or maybe it's me and other city council members, they become political and personal. It'd be nice if there was, and we have, our city council rep here and a former city council member sitting right next to her, but I just always a thought that I've had too, if city council is comfortable borrowing X amount each year, then leave it up to the departments to fill in those gaps. That way it takes the politicalness away from the projects or whatever initiatives there are. And then it's just, Parks and Rec, we're comfortable borrowing 100,000 for you this year, or 50 or 150, whatever that number is. That saves on 2, 3, 4 hours worth of arguing over something that we've had those micro discussions here. Again, it's just, in my opinion, it's nothing that we're going to change, but I like to talk about it. So,
I guess, Dan, I do have a question about it, and I probably could have just watched the budget meeting, but I didn't get a chance to. What happened with the sign and the implementation of the city's new tagline? I know we talked about, wouldn't that be more appropriate to budget sign upgrades with the new marketing dollars that were spent, to follow through on it? Was there any movement with marketing and communications? And is there any money budgeted to implement the new tagline?
That specifically didn't come up. There was quite a bit of discussion related to marketing, and that was more so for the TV, MP3, I always call it, but and the high school, the very first meeting, the high school rep that's in charge of that program, and the MP3 portion was there. There was potential discussion of eliminating some of that budget, but specifically know that the implementation of the tagline as it relates to signs wasn't part of that. So we had a partial funding out of that. So we had 15 out of the 35 we asked for. So we'll start with a design on how we want to do it. I'll bring that to you guys. I'll probably start work on that in December right away, and just try to get some schematics on what we want our signs to look like, because once we do that, we're committed to it, and we want all of ours to look how we want them to look.
Consistent, yeah.
Yeah.
So those dollars are in our budget, not marketing and communications, if I understand you.
We have 15,000 to work on, and then as far as the marketing committee, I'm not sure if they actually earmarked it, or if they just have a lump sum that they can use if they want. If they use it, they can spend less on this. I'm not sure on that one. So, any other questions related to? Like I said, it wasn't too bad. It really wasn't. There was a. It's the capital is always the most difficult one for everybody, because everybody views it a little bit differently, and their viewpoints on borrowing and projects and what they feel is important and what some feel is not important, which is good. That's why the city of Merrill elects our city council members to hopefully represent their districts, and that's okay too. But
I think sometimes it's a good thing if everything isn't the same age too.
yeah,
Like the skates, or if we do that in phases.
yeah, and like I said, something's better than nothing. So at least we're able to chip away at some of these things. I hope that, knowing that almost every one of these items is now partially funded, those have to go back on the list. Is, like park signs, we're not gonna do half the park signs and then not do them ever again. Because we do, and we're gonna have to pick the ones like Riverside, for example. We've already screwed that thing back to the post 3 times this year. It's shot, it's done, it's embarrassing. So that, there's a couple of them that are like that or close to that that'll have to get done first. So we'll pick those out and do them, and they'll still have the standard design, but it'll just be Riverside Park with whatever design. So, yeah. Hopefully, next Tuesday it goes smooth. That's why we have all those discussions beforehand, so that when it comes time for the actual public hearing and the approval, that it goes through.
I would just kind of like to follow up on what you said, Dan, about guidance from council, because this year wasn't unique. That I think as a commission level here, we spend, as we should, a fair bit of time talking about different options. Is it a 10-year, or do we scale it back to 5-year plan now on what's coming up, which is just the best guess. But we do spend a lot of time on it when we could be spending time on other things, or potentially the council could be spending some time on other things too, if there was a little bit more guidance, like you said, a dollar amount, be it 50,000 a year, 100,000 a year. It wouldn't even have to be the same thing, and it would seem to me that would make sense, like long term, to have this is a reasonable amount to spend on capital year upon year. And I know different departments have different needs, so you would know that, but if we could get some guidance, that would, I think, certainly help us. So maybe that discussion could at least continue to happen at administrative levels or things like that, or maybe not, and we'll keep doing our best. So,
Yeah.
okay.
Amen.
Anything else for Dan on the budget? All right, thank you for the recap, Dan. Let's, fingers crossed, everything will continue to roll along smoothly. Next agenda item, consider the Smith Center public skate punch passes.
Okay, wanted to see what your thoughts were, and instead of doing our family season passes that we've done in the past, and we don't do very many of those anyway, wanted to switch over and try to kind of mirror, this is for the next 2 items, what we've done at the Aquatic Center. And these two things have been more successful since switching to it this way. I know some people had a rough time with this because it does save a ton of money, but we lose a ton of money when we do it this way, when we do the season passes. But this, by going with the punch passes, it's a true read on what it's a 1-for-1. You save money on it, so if you do, I think we have $85 is the cost of a pass that gets you 25 visits. 37 for 10 and 20 for 5, I think. So each one of them has an escalating savings that you have. But so each visit is 1 punch on your pass. It's easier for us to keep track of it. It's easier for other people to keep track of it. And at the end of it, we've noticed over the last few years some of the passes end up getting abused, isn't quite the right word, but probably used a little bit outside of the spirit of the pass itself, where you have, this is what happened at the pool too, where we have so-and-so shows up and this is my cousin's cousin, so on and so forth. So we sell a $50 pass, and after 2 visits with a cousin's cousin, and 5 other people, then we're out for the rest of the season. So every time they visit, it's $0 for entry. And again, with this, we're running a business out there, and our revenues are scrutinized. They just were for the last 3 city meetings, and we do have to balance that public service, and it is a city facility, versus also making sure that we're able to recoup as much revenue as we possibly can, so that we can offset our overall budget and be good stewards of taxpayer dollars. That's, I think I I sound like a politician, but it is the honest truth, though, because there are many people in this community that don't go out and skate or don't use the aquatic center. So we do have to make sure that we balance that, making sure that we have good deals and good opportunities for everybody to utilize these facilities, but at the same time, it can't be so one-sided that, you know, a season pass is something that costs us money after a week, and there's, you know, 30 weeks in the season. That's not gonna cut it. So just wanted to gauge your thoughts on it. I don't anticipate any real issues with it. You know, again, at the aquatic center, it has gone well since we switched over to it, and people just understand it. They do. And for the most part, even if you go with the highest package we have, the $85, it still saves you $15 on your pass, and 25 visits is quite a few. It's a good deal. It's just more real time, punch. So.
How long has it been that we've been with the punch passes for the pool? About?
4 years, I think 4 or 5. We have to skip because that year that we closed, 2020. So 5 actually, and it's been just fine. I mean, last year people once they're done with that punch pass, they turn it in and we throw it away, and you get another one if you want another one. It doesn't. We don't have the same issues at the aquatic center that we would, or I should say at the aquatic center than we would for skating. The aquatic center, one of the other factors that led us to that was every time it would rain or something else would happen, then the season pass holders went bananas because they thought that they were going to lose money by not being able to go to the pool. So we don't have that here, but if there are times where the high school hockey team has a Friday night game or a Saturday, you know, they have their annual tournament. But again, you're still not losing anything on this because it's not annual. If you want to buy that pass and it lasts you 5 years, if you do a few visits a year, it's still good next year, the year after. You don't have to worry about re-upping on it. So
I think it makes sense to me to go that route because I feel like just from a, I guess, customer standpoint, it's a better way to do it too because it's easier to keep track of how many punches you've used and, oh, I need to go and get my money's worth. I have 5 left, or
Yep.
just feels a little bit better all around, in my opinion.
And the consistency, I think, is really important too
Yeah.
for families.
agreed.
I'm assuming it'll be a different number than the pool pass.
Yes. Yep.
They'll have 35 days.
Yeah. They'll have a different look to them as well. And then once we're done with those, we guys lock them up and then put them in the closet out at the aquatic center so those don't commingle. Yeah. So I guess I don't know if we need or not, but if anybody's interested in making a motion, just to make it official.
Yeah.
We need a motion, but do you need a motion on the price, or is that something you guys take care of? I don't know how you did the aqua.
So if you want to say just as presented, the 85, 37, and 20. So the 25.
So it would be I guess that's what my question was. It's going to be the same as just maybe a different color, a different look. It's going to be the same amount of punches.
Same price, same punches. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Because 85 punches or whatever, 35 punches. You're probably looking at 4 years to get that used up.
For some it might, but there's quite a few people that use open skate fairly consistently too, and we've been getting quite a few like homeschool kids that'll come during the afternoon.
And would it be if you had a card, if a family had a card and they brought 2 or 3 kids, there'd be 3 punches on the same card? They don't need one card for each
Yeah, so if
skater.
if
Or you could bring the neighbor kids
Yeah.
and
Yep.
pay
Yeah,
for 2 on
it's-
that punch.
If you want to put those on that same punch, you can. But so if if me and Kyle go to open skate and we want to use mine, we're 2 visits, 1 punch, 2 punch. So
Is there a motion forthcoming?
I guess how do I phrase it? I make a motion to change to punch passes as presented. Is that what you think?
yeah, the 85, 37, and what was it? I got it right here. I can never remember the actual.
Yeah, why don't you read it back clearly so we're all clear on
Yeah.
what was presented?
No, I got it right here. Never mind. So $85 for 25 for a 25 punch pass, 37 for 10, and $20 for 5.
Okay. And I guess what is there's currently a season pass or family pass?
There was, yep. We're looking to do away with that and go with just these.
Right.
So,
What was?
do you have your motion?
Yeah, I guess I was just
Yep.
curious.
Then we
about-
should have a second on the motion before we
Okay.
discuss it. So is there a second on the motion to approve going to punch passes as presented?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Now, is there discussion
Okay,
on that
sure.
motion?
I guess I was just curious what that previous pass cost was in comparison to this one.
We had a 50 and a 100. 50 was individual, 100 was a family.
Okay.
And what's a per visit?
I think it's
If you
$5.
Yeah.
$5,
Yep.
okay.
Yep.
that's
So-
excluding skate rental. Or is that
Correct.
included?
Skate rental's not included in
Right.
that. Skate rental's
Yeah.
4. Yep. And we just increased each one of those. We increased skate rental $2 last year and the admission $1, but those had been the same. We hadn't adjusted our open skate fee or skate rental for 10+ years before that time.
Mhm.
So, but that, we tried to mirror those similar prices for the aquatic center too. So that's why these fit just fine, because you're still saving money by doing this.
Mhm.
You are on each one of them. It's just a matter of how many times you want to do it. And if you're good for 5, you save, obviously $1 every time you come out.
So you see us making a little bit more money going this way? Okay.
Yep.
And you keep the cards, right?
Yeah.
Or okay.
Yep. Yep.
So you don't have to worry about lost cards or.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that way we know, and we usually just put on a list too.
Right.
So.
Good.
Any other questions for Dan or discussion on the motion?
When's the last time you updated the prices, Dan?
Last year.
Last year?
Yep.
Any thought to increasing those prices, like even by $1?
Yeah, I think every year we've tried to shy away from that, just because one of the things we don't want to find out is what that point of diminishing return is. But we did the aquatic center and the Smith Center stuff. What would that have been? 23 going into 24. So last year was our first year where we had the new prices for both. And for the most part, the first week or so when we opened the pool this last year, there was a little bit of some people that had a few grumblings, but it wasn't all that bad. It wasn't. And I understand it. I mean, people get used to a certain price, but I think the easy explanation too is the cost for us doesn't go
Right.
down. All of our chemicals, they go up every single year. Our heating and cooling costs and everything continues to go up.
Any other discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next agenda item, consider adjusting Smith Center birthday skate party packages. So Dan, what is the current price? How long has it been at that price? And what are you suggesting we adjust
Okay,
it to?
so this one we upped them a little bit, so and we've had this discussion just about every year. So before we had ice cream, hot dog, pizza, and it was, I think we we went up. Our prices are only going to be slightly different. So what we had done in the past was it was X amount per kid. So ice cream would have been $7 a kid. Hot dog was, or it was 7 for hot dog, 7 for ice cream, 8 for hot dog, 9 for pizza. But we wanted to kind of, again, going back to trying to not reinvent our own wheel within our own house. The Aquatic Center, a number of years ago, we did the birthday party packages where we want to propose mirroring the same thing. So the proposal is ice cream package, $90, up to 10 kids, admission, skate rental, reserve table, paper products, balloons, ice cream, cup, soda, treat for a birthday child. Each child will receive 1 free skate pass for their next visit. And then it's $7 for each additional child. So instead of, what ended up happening was, if we get a party where there's, I want 5 kids, this still allows you to have 5 kids. But it's still going to cost you $90. And there was times where we would have 5 kids and then they'd show up with 20, and we don't have anything. Hot dog now would be $120, up to 10 kids. Same thing applies. The only difference is substitute hot dog for ice cream. Pizza package $150, up to 10 kids. Again, same amenities included in there. Substitute pizza in on your treat that you get. And we let you bring in your own cake for this one. But again, it makes it a little bit easier for us and for those that are booking or reserving it. Now we know that you get up to 10, and if there's any more than that, then you have to make sure that you let us know so that we can charge you the extra $8 per child for hot dog, extra $9 per child for pizza, or extra $7 for the ice cream. But it's a way that we can again account for a little bit more accurately what we want to do. If they have only 5, that's okay. We come out maybe a little bit better on it. But if there's ones that have maybe a little bit more, it evens itself out in the end. But it's just easier for us to plan, and it's easier for people to the people that are renting or looking to do this. It's been quite a bit more popular since we did this at the Aquatic Center. So I think it only makes sense for us to do it this way, because a lot of the people that we have, we do get repeat customers, whether they have one kid that has a summer birthday and one that has a winter birthday, they become more accustomed to and comfortable with the same setup that we have out there versus at the Smith Center.
Where do we get the pizza from? Is it from Merrill Distributing, or?
I
was just curious.
Well, a lot of times we get lots of Matzo Pizza because they're one of our main sponsors out there. They pay us a fair amount of money to hang banners and stuff in the arena. So I think for the most part it's lots of Matzo Brew Pub Pizza.
Okay.
Do the families take the leftovers then?
Yep, when they're done.
So
they can
if there's
take it.
only 5 kids,
It's
but they're
theirs,
having
yep.
an ice cream party, they still get the
Yep.
rest of that?
Yep, they paid for it already.
Mm-hmm.
So
What's your profit margin per?
per we are probably 3.5 a piece, which is solid. I mean, if we were a private business, we would probably up that just a little bit, but again, we're publicly funded, so.
And you just review it, like if costs go up, like if food goes up a lot, then maybe the next year you'd review it to make
Yep,
sure we're okay?
Yep, then we would bring that back here when we discuss fees and things like that, if we're gonna raise them, yep.
I guess I was curious how popular it was, but it sounds like it is quite a popular thing.
It is. It's a easy way for people to bring their mess to us and let us take care of it. And from the skate thing, we always do it to coincide with an open skate too. So
Yeah.
we'll do it on a Friday or a Saturday night, and they can have their own little area that we section off for them.
Yeah.
Let them gobble some food and do their thing, and then they can hit the ice when they're ready to go.
I guess just a thought I had is like, would you consider doing adult birthday parties?
Sure. This doesn't say anything about youth. Well, you-
Okay. I
It does say $7 for each additional child, but we can change that to say person. Yeah. We are equal opportunity recreators. Maybe we have to switch the beverage
Right, yeah.
of choice.
Any other questions for Dan? Is there a motion forthcoming to approve the change as just discussed?
All motion.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion, a second, to approve the changes in the Smith Center birthday skate party packages. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, Dan, for your time on preparing that and presenting it.
Thank
Seems
you,
like some
guys.
good-
Thank you.
Good adjustments. That then, before we get into monthly reports, the budgets, did it get started to have us sign it, or do we not need to do that anymore?
We haven't been sending that around. We
Okay.
don't need to sign them anymore.
All right. Then, monthly reports. Thank you for your well-written monthly report. Does anyone have any questions on that? We'll start there. Anything you'd like to briefly highlight, Dan?
Okay, I know that you would ask me just to kind of go through the projects that we had done this year, so I will do that real quick. Nicholas Bridge redecking is done. So far, to rave reviews. I think everybody really likes that concrete on there. It's good to see people back out and enjoying it, and hopefully it's something that we don't have to touch till after I retire. Otts Park dock and boat launch. That's been actually a pretty cool success. I think there's a lot of people that really like both of those, and thanks to Lincoln County for their contribution, their ARPA funds for that dock and kayak launch. It's been a popular thing. So normal park paths, lights, power. The paths themselves are done, and we backfilled all of the slopes immediately right after it was done, and threw some seed and stuff down on it. We'll see if we get anything to go there. We are still waiting for the lights to arrive and the power pedestals. As soon as those come back in, we will have those ready to go. Those are always a little bit more difficult. We've run into this even at the pickleball courts too, with things like that. There's some industries that I don't know what they do or why they do it, but you seem to have to wait for those types of items. But so far, I've at least some feedback have received. I think people are very appreciative of that, and we need to thank the city band, as well as the Chamber Foundation and those who contributed to that. That was an $85,000 donation that we were able to do that with, so thank you. Prairie River Pathway, we on our last park tour that we did, you guys saw the portions that we finished. We did lay out the part that is going to happen. I'm not sure if it's going to be this fall yet or if it's going to be right away in the spring, early spring, where we'll have to grub that out, where we connect from that new Spruce Street extension where it meets 14th there, and then it'll go in that, remember when we had our discussion here where we were swapping properties with Freemark. So that's marked out and flagged, and that'll be our connection there. Riverside Dock, a lot of the muskie fishermen this fall have been thankful for that. I've heard some good feedback there as well. Grueling Family Playground, that was again a $25,000 donation, or a collection of donations in memory of the Bob and Eppie Grueling. That's been met with a lot of thanks. They're just the amount of people that reserve and rent and use the Agri Pavilion. It's been getting used quite heavily, and people appreciate it, especially those that have the little ones. So it's great. It's a good number of high impact projects that we've been able to accomplish this year, and it's nice also that we were able to do some of these things that we wouldn't normally be able to do just through the partnerships that we've been able to forge here within our department and throughout the community. We have some great businesses. I was just kind of going through this earlier today, but it's kind of a cool stat, I think, but we've been able since I've been here, through grants and relationships and service organizations and businesses, we've been able to do 9.026, over $9 million worth of projects in our park systems by just donations and grants and partnerships. So that's pretty cool. We'll continue to do that moving forward. The more things like that we can do, the better off our park system and our citizens are and our visitors. So kind of happy to announce that. So otherwise, yeah, we'll wait to see what the weather does. We're ready. We're about 3/4 of the way done planting our trees. We had about 160 trees this year that we're planting, which is the most that we've ever done, which is good. We've been able to knock out some nice tracts of properties. This year, one of the main ones that we did was the new subdevelopment, the Parkview, Edgewater, Rock Ridge, those new houses that were in there. Started with a couple of requests that turned into a few more requests. There's only 2 people there that vehemently don't want trees, but all their neighbors do, so we plant all of them for their neighbors. I still get that every once in a while. There are people that don't want trees, and I know that trees ends up being a fairly popular topic now and again, but we plant as many trees as we can each year, and that's always been a goal every year, and we have accomplished that as a Tree City USA, where we plant many more trees than we remove, contrary to what anybody hears. So, which also reminds me, I know I sent you guys an email. If anybody is available tomorrow, we will do an Arbor Day planting, and we'll meet a little before 11 o'clock down at the Agri Pavilion. It'll just be a simple pose, and the mayor's going to join us down there, read the proclamation, and can get you on your way. If anybody can make it, it should be 5-10 minutes. So, any other questions? Otherwise, thank you guys.
All right, date and the time for the next meeting. The first Wednesday in December will be December 4th, 4:15 p.m. Does that work for most?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, very good. Is there any public comment? I would then entertain a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
A motion, a second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.